Hello and welcome to your very first episode of Fisher's Class Notes. We're going to start getting all our notes outside class, and they'll be due every Friday as we talked about during class. Our very first notes are on human geography and migration, geography and human migration, and this is our Unit 1, Section 1, Episode 1. Our vocabulary, what we're going to talk about today: continents, migration, the Bering Strait, we're going to talk about a land bridge, topography, region, and then Paleolithic, which means Stone Age, and hunter-gatherers. By the end of this episode, I want you to understand three things. Number one, scientific evidence suggests that humans migrated from Asia, out of Africa through Asia, and then into the Americas as early as 35,000 years ago. Originally, we thought they only came during the last ice age, when the water had receded and there formed a land bridge between modern-day Alaska and modern-day Siberia, connecting Asia and North and South America. But actually, evidence suggests that humans were there much, much earlier than that, because we have found evidence that there might have been humans living in southern Chile as early as 15,000 years ago. So they couldn't have just come over during that ice age. So they did this during several trips, possibly by boat, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the last one being through the last ice age about 12 to 11,000 years ago over the Bering Strait land bridge. We're also going to talk about regions. Those are defined by the land, the quality of the land, and the type of land, the topography. We'll define each region. For example, the mountain region has mountains. The tidewater region, it has lots of water. It has the sounds, and of course it's right next to the Atlantic Ocean. North Carolina is divided into 4 regions when you're talking about east to west. So east, starting by the Atlantic Ocean, you've got the tidewater, then the coastal plain, the Piedmont where we live, and then the mountains region by Tennessee in the western part of the state. Okay. The first thing I want to talk about is that in this class, because we want to respect all religions and people who don't identify with a religion, we're not going to use BC and AD anymore. We're going to use BCE, which stands for Before Common Era, instead of BC, or before Christ. And then we're going to use CE, or Common Era, not AD, which does not, by the way, mean after death. It's Latin for Anno Domini, which means in the year of our Lord. We're going to talk about the 7 continents. We have Africa, Antarctica, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. Although we'll talk about that, a lot of people think that there are fewer continents than that because a lot of them connect. For example, North and South America connect right there, which is now modern-day Panama. And Africa, Europe, and Asia all connect. Europe and Asia clearly connect, so people often call that Eurasia. And then some people even call it Afro-Eurasia, because right by the Suez Canal, Africa connects to the Eurasian continent. And then you've got Australia way down there, and Antarctica at the southernmost part. Then you've got 5 oceans. You've got the Pacific, you've got the Atlantic, you've got the Arctic Ocean, the Southern Ocean, and the Indian Ocean. Of course, they all connect, and so we could just say we have one ocean. A continent is described or defined as a large landmass, but of course, who decides what large is? All right, so now let's talk a little bit about human migration. Our best scientific evidence suggests that we came out of Africa. In the eastern part of Africa, we went south into South Africa and then West Africa about 80,000 years ago. Then we started coming out of Africa. We migrated out of Africa about almost the quickest thing that we did actually was go way down into Australia as early as 50 to 60,000 years ago. Then about 40,000 years ago, we made our way into Europe. We made our way into Asia about 40,000 years ago as well. And then about 35,000 years ago, we started migrating into North and South America. We made it all the way to the southern part, which you can't quite see here, of Chile as early as possibly 15,000 years ago, which is much earlier than we originally thought. Okay, so we came over the Bering Strait. but we did it in several different migration trips. The first ones were as early as 35,000 years ago. And it's likely that maybe we did it by boat along the Pacific coastline. I'll show you a map in a minute. Like kind of like out of Siberia, which is part of Russia in Asia, along modern day Alaska and Canada, and then along the coast all the way down until we went past Mexico and all the way to southern Chile. We were hunter-gatherers, which meant we hunted for our food, we chased down our food, but we did a lot of fishing. In fact, early cultures often relied on fishing. It's a lot easier than trying to chase down a mastodon or something like that, which is extinct about 11,000 years ago. And this is called the Paleolithic Age, or the Stone Age, because we made our weapons by stone, by chiseling stone until it became a point. Often we used bone as well. We made it into North Carolina likely about 14,000 years ago. So we've been in this state for a very, very, very long time, earlier than the last ice age. So clearly that was not the first time that humans migrated into North and South America. So we made it kind of over the Appalachian Mountains into modern day North Carolina. So the first humans actually came, as I talked about, along the coast, so possibly by boat. So out of Asia, over the Bering Strait, hugging Alaska, and then getting into Oregon and Washington, and south through California and Mexico, and then down to South America. And then we came over in many waves, and then the last wave came over when this was an exposed land bridge, the Bering Strait land bridge, and that's where we would have migrated into Canada and then into the rest of North America and South America. All right, thanks for watching.